Okay, so hello everyone, and thank you so much for making time to join us this evening for a session on how to create a mixed audio for our current Wiki Loves Africa campaign that is about rites and rituals. Before we begin, I would like to share my screen if that is okay for everyone. Please let me know if you can see my screen.
Yeah, we can see a screen there.
Awesome. So today our session will be about the art of audio creation. I think I need to minimize this somewhere. So when we talk about audio creation, it is something that a lot of us always do because almost every blessed day you get to talk to someone, you get to listen to someone, and all of these things happen by the power of audio. And what is captured by audio can actually never be covered or captured in words. Now, when we talk about the audio and why it matters in the Wikimedia ecosystem, a lot of us would be wondering, so why not video and audio? That is why even the radio came before the television, because listening to people speak, listening to conversations, listening to songs, listening to music, listening to rituals, listening to our heritage, our culture has been the game before even textual documentation and video documentation came on board. If you cast your mind back to the time of creation when Adam and Eve were brought down to earth, how were they speaking to each other? They used to speak by the power of audio, just talking to each other and listening to each other. So, what is captured in audio can never actually be captured in text. One limitation about text is that it doesn't carry emotions when you send them, but in audio and in vocal output you are able to capture the emotions that comes with what you want to say. And for the fact that we are looking at rites and rituals, something that is inherently that in the African ecosystem, in the African culture, I can bet my life in the guillotine that the African culture has been passed down from generation to generation by word of the mouth, which means that all the emotions, the rhythm, the living pulse of our cultural heritage has been passed down from the first man who lived up to us, and it's something that is going to continue. A lot of the things we study in our environment, a lot of the things we know about our culture, a lot of the things we even learn in schools, we learn at our workplaces, all of these things are carried through the medium of audio. So this means that giving so much attention to audio production and also cleaning it up so that it looks very neat for mass usage is something that we should all prioritize. And today we are going to be delving deeper into that. And every community, I think, every African community wants to get involved in the oral history documentation, but the how is always the question. And today you would find the answers to the how. Now, by the end of today's presentation, the expectation is that you should be able to at least identify some few tools that can be used in audio creation. You should also be able to at least understand the basic rules and modalities when it comes to creating audio. You should also be able to understand what is acceptable in the Wikimedia ecosystem. Of course, it might be a very useful audio, but it might not be a useful audio for Wikimedia Commons. Why will be answered in the upcoming presentation. We'll end our conversation today with a practical demonstration of how to use the Audacity tool. Audacity is an open source tool, and that is why we have selected that tool. There are 1,001 tools out there that can be used for audio creation, but we have selected Audacity because it is open source, and our whole project is benched on open data and open source. Now, just like I have mentioned, text can always only describe the rituals that we have written in our articles. But the only thing that can actually bring out the real meaning, the real emotion, the real sound, the real heartbeat behind these rituals that we perform. Look at the festivals, look at our songs, look at our lullabies, look at all the things that we do in our everyday to day life that forms part of our culture and that resonates with the African Wiki Loves Africa team, Rites and Rituals. None of this can truly be captured in text. This can only be captured with audio accompaniment. Sorry, I had some background sound. So yeah, again, also audio helps to enrich the rhythm. Imagine listening to a spoken word or listening to an orator speak about something. More often, the reason you enjoy it is because of the rhythm that it comes with, because of the way it is conveyed. Now, two people can say the same thing, but the difference comes in how these vocal notes are manipulated. The rise and fall of the intonation is what brings the difference. Imagine someone who cannot actually hear but can speak. The person will speak very flatly because the person wouldn't even know where to add emotions to their conversation, where to add high pitch and low pitch, where to make the voice louder, and where to make the voice lower. The same statement is mentioned, but these two statements would carry different meaning depending upon how it is said. For example, if I say come here, and I say come here, and I say come here, these two words, come here, has been used in three different dimensions, but what brings out the real meaning, the real enchantment in these words is dependent upon the rise and fall of the pitch, how the voice was modulated. And this is what usually guides the way audio is used in documenting our culture and our histories, our festivals, our songs, and all the things that we all cherish. Now, what are the foundations of audio creation? For you to create an audio and even get to think of it, upload it on Wikimedia Commons, it should focus on the fair and the care principles. Now, when you're able to blend the fair and care principles, then you can say, okay, this is a good audio I can upload on Wikimedia Commons. What are the fair principles? Now, there's a current project on Meta. I don't know uh, who is working on that, but I find that very useful. It's called OpenSpeak. Now, OpenSpeak have got a very rich documentation about the foundational documentation of oral history and audio recording. And one of the principles they have highlighted so much is the FAIR principles, where the FAIR principle stands for findable, accessible, interpretable, and reusable. So the F stands for findable. Is what you are trying to record. Is it something that people can easily find? And even when you finish the recording, is it something that the people can find that? For example, they are currently celebrating a festival in your environment or in your hometown or in your community. Then you go to record some audios from this festival. After recording and processing it, will the community be able to find that? That is one principle. If they cannot find that, trust me, it is not worth uploading on Wikimedia Commons. Is this something that is accessible? For example, you record these audio songs or this free content from the environment, from the people, from the culture, from the indigenes themselves, and at the end of the day, they cannot have access to their own audio, or they cannot have something access to their own heritage, they cannot have access to their own culture. Maybe you upload it on another platform and then you make it a paid version, something you collected for free, now you are making it paid version, and people have to struggle to even get access to it. That such kind of audio do not meet the fair principles, hence they don't belong on Wikimedia Commons. Is it something that is interoperable? Is it something that can cross over different platforms? For example, if you record an audio in in the wave format or the .ogg format, is it something that is transferable in other formats, and is it something that other people can use on other platforms? That is another case study for the data that you collect when it comes to audio samples. Lastly, you look at the R, that is the reusable principle. So I've come to collect a lot of audio from you. Is this something we can reuse? For example, I have created maybe some audio content on Bugum Festival. Bugum Festival is a traditional fire festival that is celebrated to mark the beginning of the year in our part of the world. Now, if that is the case, if that is the case, and I record these things, would someone else be able to reuse this? For example, a student researcher or another researcher comes later and they want to build upon what I have done. Is this something they can use? If it is something they cannot use, then it doesn't meet the reusable principle part of the FAIR principles of open audio documentation principles or open culture documentation principles. Now let's talk about the people focus, like the where you are getting the data from. We all understand that data cannot just be gotten from a vacuum. You need to get it from a source, and the source mostly in the aspect of oral history or in the aspect of oral tradition or audio files, we get it from people. So these audio files needs to also obey the care principles. The C stands for the collective benefit. Is it something that will benefit you and benefit the community? Yes, of course, you as a Wikimedian, when you record the audio, you are going to upload this on Wikimedia Commons. That is beneficial for you because you have contributed to knowledge. Is it also beneficial for the people? Yes, because it's preserving their culture for them. No, maybe it is something that would be demeaning and giving them social stereotypes or giving them some form of stigmatization in the environment when you upload that. So in that case, you need to also be very mindful about the care principles, the collective benefit of that. We also have the authority to control. Now, the authority to control here, that is the A part of the care principles, has to do with who controls how these audio files are collected, how they are reused, how they are stored, how they are distributed, and all of that. Now, you need to blend this with the collective benefit. Try to explain to the people that you are getting this data from how each one of you have got the power to control the usage of it. Then we have the responsibility. Responsibility, now we all understand data protection principles and how it is very important for us as Wikimedians. Sometimes you collect data and how you even treat the data is something that is so appalling that a lot of people are now becoming more concerned about how we treat data, and that has been the genesis for data protection. So you need to also look at the responsibility aspect. Who takes responsibility when it comes to what and when it comes to where? Lastly, is the ethics. What you are doing, is it ethical? For example, we all know that there are some traditional practices that are so sacred to some to some cultural or to some tribal groups that should not leave the corridors of that particular community or that particular tribedom. For example, in my culture, when the leader of the whole Dagbon kingdom, that is over about 3.5 million population, when the head of the kingdom dies, there are some rituals that are performed, and we call that sending the king into Katini. Now, it is a sacred room where the king is buried. There are some rituals that are performed there that can never be said on audio because it is a taboo. So you need to understand the taboos of the particular culture or practice you are trying to get the audio from. We, as Africans, we believe in taboos, and the Western world have also come into terms with that, and that is what they call ethics. What is that ethical foundation? What is that ethical principle What is that ethical belief that would make you either record or not record? That will make you either publish or not publish. That will make you either keep or not keep the audio you have recorded. So the ethical principles or the ethics needs to also be respected. And also um, the people, what is that form of ethical right you are respecting about them? For example, you go to record an audio from someone who is not really ready for that. Maybe just because you have your recorder on or you have a recorder you can easily hide and record. Is this something that is ethical? Is it not invading the person's privacy? So the fair and care principles are something that we need to uphold in high esteem in as much as we are trying to document oral history, in as much as we are trying to document our rites and rituals as part of this international campaign is concerned. Finally, is the integration of these two particular principles. Once you're able to identify the dynamics of these two principles and you blend them, you are good to go. Record the audio, put it on Wikimedia Commons, and we'll be glad to remix it. We'll be glad to reuse it. We'll be glad to do a lot of beautiful things with the audio you have recorded. Please feel free to use the raise hand option if you have a question so that Hillary can let me know, or we can have a Q&A session at the end of the presentation. Now, when you are collecting the audio, you need to identify your role. Your role would determine your responsibility. For example, if I am collecting some audio or ritual audio about some festivals or some cultural practices, or just about the proverbs and also lullabies from my community, it means that I am a community member. I am someone who is part and parcel of the community. I was born and bred in that particular culture, so I have got some rights on what I can collect and what I cannot collect. And in this case, I am documenting from within. And in this case, also, usually you get the best form of audio or the best form of data when you are collecting from within, because you get to consult the elders, you get to talk to the right people, the people who matters. And then you now also have to think about safekeeping. How do you store the data? And also you need to make sure that the community from whom you have collected this audio have absolute control about how this audio you have collected is published. At least mention to them that, oh, I am collecting this audio because we are currently having so and so campaign, or I'm collecting this audio because I wish we can document our culture and our cultural practices online, because anything that is not documented online has the possibility of going into extinction. Next is neighboring indigenous people. For example, I'm a Dagbana speaker by tribe, but in Ghana we have got about 87 languages. So in Nigeria, there are over 200, and then there are over 500 languages. Now, if I get up as a Dagbani speaker and I go to any of the 86 other languages to collect data, I need to identify myself. I need to also identify the protocols that exist within their cultural setting, what can be recorded and what cannot be recorded. And that is based on the care and fair principles, right? I need to also learn about their culture before I even make an attempt to record or publish something. At the end of the day, we need to identify the authority of control in the care principle. Who controls the data? Yes, I am the collector. I've come with my instruments, I've come with my devices to collect the data, but who controls the data? If they allow you to upload it, that is fair enough. You are good to go. If they don't, then by the principles of the fair and the care, you are not supposed to upload it on Wikimedia Commons. Lastly is the external or the non-indigenous, or what we call the NGO or researcher group. Now, in this particular dimension, your duty is to identify some indigenes and work with them, because they would understand so much about the cultural dynamics, the taboos of the land, so that you don't collect what is not supposed to be published. There's a ritual in Ghana when the Ashanti king passes on, or the queen mother, sorry, the queen mother of the Ashantihini, a very huge tribe in Ghana. When she passes on, for a whole night, nobody is supposed to be seen outside from the hours of like 6 p.m. to like 7 a.m. If you are seen outside and something happens to you, you have nowhere to take the case to. So in the past, there used to be some traditions which are now outmoded traditions where kings and queens were buried with human heads. Of course, today they are not practiced, but that sacred principle of not roaming in the night, just to give some form of reverence and respect to the dead queen, still reigns. So when the queen passes on, it is the duty of the king's men to announce, and in that particular night, nobody, even when if you want to free up yourself, you have to do that in your room and do not step outside, because it's a way of preserving the respect they have for the queen. It is believed that the spirit of the queen and other ancestors roam the night. This is something they believe. This is something you must respect as a researcher, and this is something you must also respect when you are collecting information from them about it, as to whether you can publish this or you can upload that on Wikimedia Commons, etc. As much as you want to document, their willingness to also get it uploaded is another thing. We all know of the protected tribes in India and some other parts of the world where they are still living in the Stone Age. Up to today, they are still cut off from technology. No, they don't have mobile phones. They don't have electricity. They are still living in the same era the first man came onto earth lived. They still live um, in that particular form of life. That is a culture they have taken for themselves, and they are protected. UNESCO protects these groups, and you cannot barge into any of these places. So yes, when it comes to audio creation, we need to also be very cognizant about some of these things. And as an NGO and as an external person, always try to compensate the local people if there's a budget for what you're doing, so that you can collect the data from them. You compensate them for their time and also to reward them with food and other things. Now, before collecting the audio, the talk first principle. Now, the talk first principle says that you need to explain to them why you are even there and why you are collecting the audio. You need to introduce yourself, you need to explain your role and the Wikimedia Foundation mission. You don't, some of us have got the shock of our life during international campaigns like Wiki Love Folklore, Wiki Love Monument, where you go to communities. In the past, somewhere in 2019, when we didn't know some of these things, you would just go to a particular place, and just because they are having something related to folklore, you are standing somewhere and you are videoing or you are taking pictures, and the next moment you get serious confrontation. Yes, for you, you are documenting it out of love for your culture and out of the beauty of what they are doing, so that the world can see the beauty of your culture and what they are doing. But to them, it's like publishing them in their in a state they are not they are not giving you approval for or approval of. So you need to explain to them the Wikimedia Foundation's mission about sharing free knowledge. You need to also respect it when they say no. No means no. You should not try to argue over why they are saying no, and you should not see them as being barbaric for telling you no because they don't want you to capture or record or publish what you want to actually publish. No is something that you need to respect. Again, also, you need to establish some clear boundaries. The boundaries, you need to set them together, like the rules and regulation of how you record. We all know that when someone is recording you purposefully, there are certain times you lose your confidence. There are certain times you even lose the next thing you want to say. It's like putting someone on the spot to speak when the person was not actually ready. Sometimes it takes a lot of inner engine processing before you get to know what to even say next. So you should uh, clearly spell out the boundaries, how you are going to edit it and remove some irrelevant portions. And once you are done, you should always try to let the person have access and all of that. You should also explain to them about the principles um, of sharing their files with open license, that is a Creative Commons license, and then let them know whether they accept or they reject that. Then you can also look at the co-create documentation questions with the community, like what kind of questions you should ask. You should prep them before you even go into recording some of these rituals. For example, in our community, in our culture, the history of our kingdom dates back to the 12th century when Nigeria settled in Fusiga in Ghana. And that had his children and grandchildren has given birth to all of us. And now the kingdom has expanded to over 3.5 million population. Now, if you ask oral historians, they'll be able to narrate to you all the scenes and scenery that happened from the day they came up to today, all the kings that have served, their praise appellations, and all of that. If you want to ask questions about these things, please sit down with the person you are going to interview and then come identify the questions that will work for both of you before you go into recording of that. If you also want to record audio sounds about games, for example, when Speed came to Ghana, Speed recorded some bit of a very beautiful children game song that we used to sing when we were kids in school. Kuraya Kuraya Kuri Jane Jane Kuri Ashetu Kuri Jane Jane Kuri Mayama Kuri Jane Jane. This is a beautiful song we used to sing. We never found the true value of this apart from the aesthetics that came with it and the excitement. But an international YouTuber came, they just got some few lines of this song in in a share button museum, and it became a global song. Now go on YouTube and TikTok and other streaming online streaming platform, and you get people using this without really even understanding the foundational principles behind this song. Of course, it's an open license song that anybody can use, but we all got to appreciate it when we finally heard it online and all of that. Yes, so these are things we need to. You can record audio sounds about games, about what's the name, festivals. The way we in our culture, whatever you are doing, even if you are working, there are some songs you sing to accompany the work that makes the job go faster. If you are doing a communal labor, there are always songs that will ginger up the people. So there are some praise singers who sing praises to the workers and they work like robots, they work like machines. Without those songs, they would have just been normal humans. But when those songs are enchanted, they become superhumans with super spirit and they do amazing things. So you can record some of these things and upload them on Wikimedia Commons for generations yet unborn. Now let's look at how to record a clean audio. It is one thing having the audio, and it's one thing another thing having a clean audio. For you to get a clean audio, it is advisable, just like we see on social media. Now we have a lot of lapels you can hang on your shirt, you can hang on a tripod, you can hang on something, just so that you have that stable position to record this. Also, make sure that you don't have a lot of background noise. um, Imagine joining a Zoom call and someone's microphone is on mute, meanwhile the person is not speaking. All the environmental interaction that happens in that particular environment would interfere with what you are doing, and sometimes it's not pleasant. So it is the same thing when you record audio with so much background noise. People listen to it and they are not even able to decode the real message we're actually even trying to communicate. And this brings us to the reason why musicians and online voiceover creators, they use studios, a soundproof environment where they already record or capture the real thing they want to capture. Even in such environment, they don't allow the fan to spin, because even the spinning of the sound of the fan, the ceiling fan or a standing fan, can be captured. Mostly they use air conditioners so that the air gets cooled up. There's zero sound. Whatever, even the drop of water on a table would be picked up. So make sure you have got that clean environment. It is best when you have a studio environment. But for the kind of things we want to record for this campaign, Rites and Rituals, I'm not sure studio setup would be the best option. Also, make sure that you record short, manageable samples. Short, manageable samples here means that, okay, so the whole thing you want to record is can last for more than hours, right? Or you are having a record, an audio interview session or a podcast session with someone you want to record and get that uploaded onto Wikimedia Commons. Make sure you record this in bits. Give room for what, let me use the cliche, commercial breaks. Give room for the interviewee to sip some water. Give room for yourself to relax and reposition yourself, or to at least stretch yourself or do something. So if you have these short bits of audio samples, you can now use tools like CapCut, you can use Audacity and other audio editing tools to mix this sound or to merge this sound. So it becomes a complete whole. It's like the whole thing is like shooting a movie. You have got different scenes. One scene is captured here, another scene is captured sometimes even miles away, or hours later, or even days later, or months later. By the end of the day, when you watch the complete movie, you literally cannot tell when this particular thing was captured. You can only visualize that, oh, they might have captured this in the night, then the following morning they captured this. But sometimes they even capture what is even happening the following day before even the night comes. But it's during the mixing that the gymnastics happen. How do you now craft the audio? So if you record your audio, make sure that you don't just um, blast your audio sound onto the audience just like that. So we have this thing we call the ambient intro. That is usually like some 10%. You know, when you're watching a movie or you're listening to an audio tune or even an audio radio program, there's usually this sound that will come just before it ends and the conversation starts. But you just jump into that, into the main audio, and sometimes that is not pleasant for people, especially for their ears, and they don't really understand or enjoy it. So researchers have recommended that you can always start with some natural sounds like bird songs, rustling leaves, village ambience, or the honking of motorbikes, depending upon what kind of audio you are collecting, depending upon what the audio or the ritual is about, depending upon what the rise is about. For example, you want to record an audio narrative about or narration about how naming ceremony is done in your culture. It would be nice you start with a baby crying. You can imagine the feeling this comes with. Le, like it prepares the audience mind as to what they should be expecting rather than just jumping onto the audio and be like, hi, today we are talking about how naming ceremony is done in Dagbani culture. This is something that will not really go down with the people or the audience, unlike the one that comes with the ambient intro. Then the core itself. The core is now when you are now dealing with the main content, the subject matter. This is the main focus of even the whole thing you are doing, the reason why you even started. So this is where you need to pay attention to the principles we have listed above. Make sure you don't have so much background noise. You capture, of course, there are tools to remove some background noise, but as much as you can, try to reduce the background noise even before you get into the processing. And finally, make sure you end with a fade. When you are watching a movie, especially Nigerian movies, just before it ends, you see to God's be the glory. And there's usually this sound that will make you feel like, yes, the movie is coming to an end. Or any other movie you have watched, you see how they end it. They don't just end it abruptly. It's like driving a vehicle and just stopping abruptly on the road. You would have caused an accident or you would have hurt some of the movable parts of the car. So the same thing happens with human ears when you are giving them an audio sign and all of a sudden you just stop. As, right now, I am speaking about this particular topic, and I just end at the point where everyone is still even expecting me to say something. You see, I would have been causing emotional injury to your ears. And as documenters, we need to be able to understand some of these things so that we fade out. We fade out so we don't, we try to avoid abrupt cuts. Now, some basic design principles include what I've just mentioned. Make sure I don't have to repeat this. Let's move on. Now, um, with the community, once you are done, you need to also be able to show your work back to them because these are about rites and rituals. These are representation of people's culture. These are representation of people's identity. The first time I heard there's this language that is spoken in South Africa. I will not be able to speak that, but it's more or less like I can't actually speak the way they do it, but they use their tongue to make some sound, and it's so beautiful. Like when you hear it for the first time, you are wondering what it is about. So if you record something like that, yes, it might sound funny to some groups, but this is something that represents people's language, some people's culture. How you treat this particular audio and how you even channel it out there is very important because other people who are listening would either stigmatize them or be proud of them. So you need to be careful how you also disseminate this information. Again, also, you should work on the disagreement that you had at the beginning, maybe at the point of recording or even after recording, there were some parts you had some disagreement on. Feel free to record those parts. There are times people say things just because they are at a high tempo, and just when they get back to their senses, they feel like, no, I shouldn't have said this. If they come approaching you, please give them the time to be able to resolve this. And once you are done, feel free to now upload to Wikimedia Commons. Now, what are some of the tools you can use for audio creation? You can use Spell for Wiki. Spell for Wiki is an Android mobile app that was created, a very beautiful app that supports a lot of languages. If your language is currently not supported, you can request for them to add it. That you can use in recording the sound of your words. For Dagbani, we use this particular Spell for Wiki app to record over 4,000 Dagbani words that was uploaded on Wikimedia Commons. And later, when we started creating lexemes, we had the opportunity to now connect these audio we had recorded years back, and we didn't even know what to use this audio for. We now have connected them to the lexemes that we have created, and now these audios can now be integrated in dictionaries that are created for the Dagbani language and other online resources that is supposed to be used for the language. You can also use Lingua Libra. Lingua Libra is another tool that can be used in recording sentences or much lengthier text than Spell for Wiki. Spell for Wiki is quite limited in the number of characters it can take. Lingua Libra is quite extensive. We also have the video to Commons that allows you to be able to just upload a video, then it converts it into the MP4, the web.webm version or Wikimedia Commons compatible versions, and you can easily extract the audio from this and now upload onto Wikimedia Commons and leave a silent video or have a video with audio. Then we also have the Audacity, which we'll be talking about today. Now, when you are done with your audio and you are ready to upload, there are some formats that are accepted in the ecosystem or for Wikimedia Commons, the .oga or .oga or .oggin format is usually accepted. Also, .opus, .flag, and .wave are versions that are accepted. You can also upload .mp3 and other variants. Just make sure that what you're uploading is actually the right version before Commons is accepting or would accept that. Now there are some platforms that gives you some audio sounds that you can use in remixing your original sound. For example, we spoke about having an intro and also the main and the fading. So in the intro, maybe you literally don't have any intro you can use, but you can come to platforms like Pixabay, Free Sound, Free Music Archive, Wikimedia Commons, and Audio Nautics. These are online platforms you can just go, use the keyword search. Maybe you want sound related to sunrise, you want sound related to bird chirping, you want sound related to African culture, just enter the keyword, and then you would have gotten reusable audios. The reason why I've mentioned some of these platforms, there are others, is because they have their content in the flexible licensing. That's the CC, the Creative Commons licensing. Some are CC by SA, others are CC by ND, others are CC. Just identify the license that has been available for it. Some are even CC0, which means it's in the public domain, and you don't have to cite anybody or do any further thing. Just pick the audio and mix it with what you have. Now let's look at a practical demo. At this point, if you don't have Audacity, you can always check online. So Audacity. So if you are using Android, if you are using Windows or Mac OS or Linux or any of the Linux Debian variations, you can always check for Audacity for PC. Now, if you click on this, you're going to get, depend upon the device you are using. So because I'm using Windows, I'll get this particular link, and then here I can download. Now, at this point, I will just click on download, but I already have this, so I wouldn't download this. So, but if you don't have it yet, just click on download this particular one, or you can download the 64-bit installer. The difference between this is that when you download the Audacity installer, it has to it gives you an interface to now re-download Audacity itself, because this one you have to download Audacity through MuseHub. MuseHub is another portal that gives you a lot of sound effects and other effects that makes your life as an audio creator much easier. So I'll recommend you go with this particular one. And once you are done downloading the file and installing, you can now always check on your start button, or depend upon the kind of device you are using, and just open Audacity by searching Audacity, or you can put a thumbnail or a shortcut um, on your desktop. Please, am I still audible?
Yes, we can hear you. Go on.
Thank you so much. So now this is Audacity for us. This is how the interface looks like. It is so beautiful. You can start even your master creation right from the platform here. Before we delve deeper into this, let's look at just some key features. Now, if you are new here and you get in here, these particular buttons are quite familiar, especially if you have used Walkman. This is the pause, the play button, the stop, the skip back to home, and this is like the forward button. This is the record button, always red. Anytime you click on the record button, it begins to record. So let me do some recording now. Hello, hi, thank you so much for joining us for today. Let me pause or stop here. Good. Now, with this audio file I have just created, I'm not sure if I play this, you'll be able to hear. Is the sound audible?
Nah, we can't hear you.
Yeah, it's much expected. Good. But what I want to show here is that you see that where my cursor is, there are some places you have got something like, is it some zigzag line? We call that wave. Okay. So sound is usually measured in decibels. And these decibels are always in the form of wavelength. So the rise and fall of the tonation is what you are seeing here. I can use this particular plus sign to zoom in, and anywhere you find that rise and fall, like the comb, the one that those parts that looks like comb, it means those were actually areas or specific points where audio was actually said or something was said. If you can also pick your phone and just go to your sound recorder on your phone, and then if you begin recording, um, you'll find the rise and fall of the wavelength. Now, when you are done, or let me zoom out. All these parts that looks quite empty, they would have been wasting your audience time, which means that as a creator, it's good you always clean these parts out, right? So when you clean them out, it allows your audience to be able to listen to you seamlessly. It also reduces and remove uh, so yes, but some of these mannerisms, when you are able to clean up your audio right after collecting it from the community, from anywhere, depending upon whatever sound you are collecting, you can use this particular tool to do the cleaning. Now, when you click on file, you are going to see new, where you can always click to start new projects. Then you have the import. This is a very important feature. You can always import the raw files or raw data or the raw audio. Make sure that if you want to import your audio, you have them all collected in one particular folder for easy editing. So I can just click on import audio. So at this point, let me just, should I leave this or we can come back to this? Okay, let me leave this for now. Let's say I want to import some audio, because it's when we import the audio that we can now do a lot of gymnastics. So we click on audio, and then you select where you want to pick your audio from. So I want to pick my audio from my audio bank, and inside my audio bank, I have got so many songs. I'll just pick the first one. Later, we'll come back and pick some two or more so that we see how best we can work on different sounds. Now, in my dashboard now, or in my editing pane, I've got two music files or two audio files. Now, this file has got a name, and if you are importing, maybe we mentioned earlier that you should always record short audios. Let's say you have recorded a bunch of short audios, maybe 10, 15, 20 different kind of short audios. It is ideal you rename them according to the way you recorded them. Maybe audio 1, audio 2, audio 3. The naming convention is something that you can choose for yourself how you want to rename it, just so that it becomes much comfortable for you. Assuming this is my first audio, I can rename this. So I'll rename this to maybe audio 1, audio 1, or A1 for short. A1, okay. Now at the top here, you find A1. Here I can also rename this to A2, A2. Assuming, let me import a third one. I'm importing the third audio. Let me import this. Open. Now my third audio has been imported and then it is here. So when you are importing the audio, even if there are so many, they will be arranged in accordance with the way they were imported. The first one that came will always be the first one, then followed by the second one, the third one. But sometimes this is not even the dynamics in which you want it. Maybe the one that is appearing as the last audio is what you want as your first audio. So I'll just make this A1, assuming this is my A1 actually. Maybe this particular one is actually not my A1. This is supposed to be my A3. So I'm renaming this to A3. How do I reposition this so that I'll be able to have them sorted well? There are two ways. Now, the first way is just to click here. You see the hand, then you keep dragging it to exactly where you want to place it, and then you are good to go. Or you use the undo. Now, I just use a Control Z shortcut to undo. Assuming I want to be able to move A1 up there, I can also come to select, and under select, I'll come to tracks. What is that option? Or is it? Move, 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 move. Okay, so we can always use a shortcut, but there's another option. Usually I find that on select, I don't know why. Okay. Okay, so you can always use the drag and drop, but the other method is that you come to select and then you find a move. There has been a recent update, and I'm sure the feature has been taken off from that point. So this is quite easier when you are working with audios. So just drag. So now I have audio 3, A1 or audio 1 at the top. Then audio 2 is here. I want audio 2 to come before audio 3. So I need to move audio 3 down. And then I have it now well arranged. Audio 1, audio 2, and audio 3. Good. Let's say I wanted this sound to play out. I want the first one to play out. You need to select it. So just clicking on the first one and hitting the play, then it begins to play, right? I'll stop here. And then you can always do your remixing. The first thing you do when you collect your sound onto Audacity is always to normalize. Normalization here has to do with making sure that the sound effect is not so distant from each other, or like the rise and fall of the tonation it's not so much that would even confuse the audience. Sorry. So to do that, just select all. So you can use the Control A to select all. If you are on Mac, you could use the Command A to select all, or you click on select at the top here and you click on select all. Now, if I click on all the files are selected. Now, if all the files are selected, I can now come to normalize. To get the normalize, I go to effects, then I come to volume and compression. And the volume and compression, I come to loudness normalization, and then I'll click on that. Now, here you can always click on preset, and under preset, you go to factory preset. The factory presets are like the default presets. More often than not, if you want to have very good sound quality, you should always have something around -3.0 decibels. If you look at the ACX guidelines, ACX, that is audio audio submission requirement. You can check this later. Audio submission requirement recommends that a good sound audio should be minimum -3 decibels. Sometimes you have your audio, if the sound quality is too low, you can have it around maybe -1. If it is not so good, around 0 or 0 point something. Now, here we have -2.0. If you remember our integers class, you would have learned that the higher the negative number, the lesser its effects, right? It's like the higher your number in the negative sense, meaning the more your depth. So -23 decibels will not be a better sound to a -3.0 decibels, right? So you can always keep this at -3.0 decibels, and then I'll click on apply, and then beautiful. I'm not sure if you can still hear the sound, but here I'm enjoying it because the sound effect has actually changed from this particular one, the audio 3, that was just like me speaking to myself in my bedroom. It's now like me speaking in the studio. That is the first part. Normalization. Another effect you need to do quickly is to be able to come to, after selecting all the sounds you want to select, you come to effect, and then you look at noise cancellation. So you come to noise removal, and the noise removal, you come to noise reduction. Of course, when you record audio, you should be ready to have some audio content you never really wanted, like some sounds that just manage their way into your sound or into your original audio. Now, the standard is always 6, right? And the advice is that you should not have your noise reduction beyond 12. Anything beyond 12 would greatly affect the audio quality of what you have recorded. So always keep it around 6. Sensitivity. Sensitivity, because a lot of us are very familiar with pictures, let me use clarity. When you are doing video editing and you try to increase the clarity to 100%, you see that all the thin lines or the boundaries, maybe you are wearing a shirt, someone can now literally check to know the boundary of the shirt, like the way you use pencil to draw, or the way you use a sculpture, the way a sculpture carves out something. So when your sensitivity is so high, people can literally listen to like the core bit of it, but the standard by ACX is around 6. So always keep it around 6 decibels. Your frequency smoothing should also be around 6. And once all of this is set, you feel free to play around these things depending upon the kind of audio. Of course, different audio will always have different play gymnastics. For example, you go to a crowd, let's say a festival is happening, then you collect audio from that particular environment. You cannot say, because 6 is standard, 6 is what I'm going to use. You need to play around the figures or the values just to see the one that works best for you. So at this point, I am not going to change anything here. And then another thing we need to do, apart from normalization and noise reduction, another thing we need to look at is splicing or splicing, like when you take your kitchen knife and then you are splicing up your butter or your bread. So let's pick the first audio. I'm selecting this. So I'll select this. When I go to select, I come to tracks. Um, I'll come to audio clips, and then I'll select next clip. So let's say I select this particular one. This was the move button I was looking out for. It's right here. So assuming this is what I want to work with. Let me mute the others. You can always mute. So when you click on mute and then you play here, you only listen to one sound, unlike the other sounds playing up. I'm pausing here. So at this point, maybe I want to split it. I want to divide it into two because I want to cut some audio from this particular place and fix there, like the way we do video editing. So at this point, you can use the Control I. If you use the Control I, it can split. If it is not working for you, just right click exactly where you want to split and you see split clip. If you click on split clip, you see that you now have two bits. If I hover around, I have a hand here, I have a hand effect here, and I can move this, which means that this is now like a vacuum, a free space, and this free space can be used for insertions. So maybe I want to move a certain sound here. I can easily move other sounds into that particular point. Or maybe something was said here and you want to split it and insert another text there or insert another audio there, you can always do that. So another cool effect we have learned is splitting. First is normalization, second is noise reduction, and third is splitting or slicing. One last thing, because of time, we are 2 minutes away from our hour. One last thing I would talk about is merging all of these audios. So I'm just bringing back this. Good. I'll unmute this. So let's say all my sounds were correct. Nothing is wrong with my sounds from sound one to the infinity sound. Everything looks fine, and I just want to merge everything. First of all, I'll just select all, Control A, and after selecting all, I come to tracks, and the tracks I come to mix, and mix I come to mix and render. When I click on mix and render, it will be automatically joined for me. So I play. So now all the three sounds are blended here for me, but I don't really like it that way. So I'm doing Control Z, that is undo button. See, I want the sound one because I recorded maybe the first part of the interview or the first part of the audio, second part of the audio, third part of the audio. I want it to play in that sequence because I've already arranged it. I have my audio one, audio two, and audio three here. So I do Control A. I click on tracks. The first option I gave you was if you want to mix all of them at once and they play all at a go. But this one, you want them to play in a particular sequence. So you come to mix and then under mix, you come to mix and render to new track. And here it would have created a new track for you at the end of the day. You can also come to generate, and here you can add other rhythms or drum sound or other effects. You can also come to effects here, and under effects, you can change the equilibrium, the filters, the delays. In fact, there's a lot we could actually do with this particular tool. So my recommendation is that this is a starter workshop. If we want to have more of this, we can always check on YouTube. There are a bunch of audio tutorials or video tutorials on how to use Audacity. And if we want to scale this particular thing up, we can always have time to talk about it further. And then, yeah, this is basically how. So let's remix and then we are good to go. Sorry, I need to select all first. Then I come to tracks, and the tracks I come to mix, and I come to mix and render. And once everything is done and you are good to go, you want to now take it to Wikimedia Commons. You have to save your work before you can upload it to Wikimedia Commons. So you click on File, and the file you come to Export Audio. Okay. Now, when you come to this particular place, sometimes it's always good to save your project. Now, we started all this work without saving. So if there's a problem and our PC goes down, chances are that we might lose everything. Now, if we save as a project, this is not an audio file. This cannot be played by another, like a random music player like VLC or any other music player as an audio file. So if you save as a project, I'm saving to my computer, and then here I'll save to my audio bank, and the audio bank I'll name it as. You can always give your Wiki Loves Africa practice or demo audio. Today's date is 19. So 19/03/2026. This is very useful because later when you come back, it allows you to easily identify what you have done. Let's say I want to pause here and continue another day. I have saved my project, and at the top here, you will now find the new name I have given it. But let's say I am done with the whole work for today. I want to now export it into an audio file I can upload onto Wikimedia Commons. I can just click on Save Project As, and then here I'll now choose the format. So it is at this point you choose whether it should be an MP3 or whatever file version you want. So once you are done, you can click on Save. Because it's not override. Okay, I need to change the name. So you can also use the export option, and under the export option here, you choose the format. So you can choose MP3, which is acceptable on Wikimedia Commons, .ogg, .opus, .flag, .wave. Most of these formats are accepted onto Wikimedia Commons. So if we choose, let's say, .mp3, and then we change the name here, or we can maintain it. So let me just _1_1. Okay. Now this is stereo because it is stereo here because I merged three different sounds into one, like from three different channels. If it was just on only one channel, I would have used the mono, but here it is stereo, so I'll maintain it as stereo. And then the sample rate. You pick a video file or an audio file, and the sound quality is so poor and porous. So the lower the number here, the sample rate, the less quality it is, and the higher the number, the more quality it is. But the bigger the size of the file. But the internationally accepted standard is the 44,100 hex. So I'll just maintain that, and then I click on export. If every other thing remains equal, you can always edit the metadata. The metadata is like the foundational information about your audio file. So it's been exported. And then when I come to where did I save this? Okay, let me go to downloads. _1_1. Okay, let me see. I didn't really take notice of where I saved it. But once it is saved properly, so let's say export. Okay, it should be it's at documents. So I'll go to documents, Audacity, and then I have it here. I know if I play this, you will not be able to hear. Good. It's playing very well as I expected. And if this file is okay for me, then I now just go onto my browser. I come to Wikimedia Commons, so commons.wikimedia.org. And then here, you can just click on the upload, and then you are good to go. But because this is a global campaign, Rites and Rituals, or original campaign, you need to first of all look for the campaign wizard, upload wizard for Rites and Rituals to upload it so that your audio can really count. So, how do you rename your files? To rename your files, this is the standard recommendation for renaming files, especially if it's about a particular culture. So we have the name of the language. So in this case, that's Dagbani. So the language code, if it was English, it would be EN. Then the location. The location is very important. Where was this audio recorded? It was recorded in Tamale, Ghana. It was recorded in Nigeria, Abuja, Nigeria. It was recorded in wherever. The subject matter, what is the audio about, right? So we call this the metadata and file naming principle. So what is the data about? Then the speaker or the documenter identifier. So in my case, I go with the initial Mohammed, the Panticho Fuseini, so MDF or MKF. So you can put your initials here. Then the date. The standardized way of writing the date is always the year, the month, and the day. Then .wave or .ogg, whatever. So I'm picking this up here. So you just put the date. So this is a sample renaming of your file before you upload to Commons. Try and rename it in this particular format. And once you are done, you make sure you upload to Commons by observing the Creative Commons licenses. There are a lot of licenses, but the ones that are acceptable by Wikimedia Foundation and for Wikimedia Commons are the CC BY or the CC0 license. So make sure that the audio file you're uploading is supported by the CC by SA, mostly CC by SA 4.0, meaning Creative Commons license share alike 4.0. You should also respect the community decisions about the audio file you have uploaded when you are prompted to modify or do some form of edit. Maybe in future workshops, we can look at how to transcribe audios and all of that. Finally, the whole agenda of audio creation revolves around four major steps: record it, archive it, use it, and then return back to it. Record, archive, that is store it, use it for something. So when we finish the recording at our local setting during as part of the rituals or the global campaign, we archive it by uploading it to Wikimedia Commons. Other content creators and other people will be able to use this. And if there are still knowledge gaps, we return back to it and we collect more. So basically, this is what we can say. And at this point, I want to say a very big thank you for the audience you have given me. I'm sure you have plenty of questions. Sorry? If it's recorded, just send us the reference.
Hello, Dian, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me too? So I'm going to
Yeah,
stop sharing.
yeah. Thank you very much. And I think we still have 15 minutes to the end of the session, so I think this is the time we will allow participants to ask questions. Thank you very much for this session. Myself, I learned a new thing, but before we take questions, because I know there are many questions to be asked. So if you have a question, you can either drop it in the chat or you just raise your hand and I will call you to um ask your question. So before we continue with, okay, I have one hand raised already. I want to ask the effect on the Audacity. When we are using files that does not belong to us, we have to keep in mind the Creative Commons license and the license which the particular file is released under. The effects on the Audacity, are they free to use or they are copyright protected?
Okay, thank you so much for asking. The effects on Audacity, the default ones are free to use because Audacity in itself is an open source tool. But just like Google Docs, now we have got a lot of customized extensions and what's the name, add-ons that gives you some extra functionalities. So if you want to import some other effects from other websites, you first of all have to identify the licensing of what you are importing so that you don't implicate yourself. And I remember I mentioned about Pixabay and Free Sound and other platforms that you can always get some cool effects and that are quite free, or even if they are not completely free, but they are available under the CC by options that you can always use. So yes, please check the source of where you are getting your effect from before you use it.
All right. Thank you very much, Dean. Samuel, your hand is raised. Please go ahead and ask your questions.
Okay, thank you so much. I actually learned a lot. I never even knew that this Audacity can be used to edit sound, but thank you for sharing. So
Thank you.
my question is about the way you upload your audio. I think that is where I got it mixed up. The format, the way you are going to upload it. What's the description? Do they also have like areas for description and your caption for formatting? Then also the audio. I don't know, but I think you made mention that you can actually edit your audio, right? So that you can have a good entry, good outro, and all of that for you to upload the audio. More like when someone has done an edit on the audio instead of just uploading a raw file. Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much. Yes, what you have mentioned is true. So I don't know if I can still share my screen. Okay, so I can still share. Please, can you see my screen?
Yeah, your screen is visible.
Good. So I'll have a clean slate now. So let's say you have your original sound. It's actually not right that you are not able to hear my computer audio. I don't know why that is happening. But let's say you go to a platform like Pixabay. I just want to demonstrate something. I'm sure this will be very useful for a lot of us. So I'm on Pixabay here, and I want something related to nature because we said you should always have like nature sound. Um, oh, I'm on audio. Uh, Okay, so here, please confirm if you can hear it.
We can't hear the sound, but I think if you stop
Okay.
sharing, then when you're resharing again, there is a place you see share sound. Just select it before you share. We'll be able to hear your sound.
Okay, okay.
Yes.
Thank
So you
you.
have to stop sharing, then reshare.
Okay. Stop sharing, reshare.
You see sound by the right hand corner, share
Okay.
sound. Select it, then you click on yeah. So if you play it now, you should be able to hear it. Awesome. Yeah, and in case you are speaking, you are muted. We can't hear you in case you are speaking. Hello, dear, and in case you are speaking, you are muted.
Hello.
Yeah, I can hear
I
you.
don't know what happened, and I got muted. I couldn't even speak. Okay, so I'm sharing back again. Okay, can you hear the sound now? Hello.
Yeah, we can't hear the sound again. I guess you have to mute back so that we can hear the sound.
So no problem. What I just want to demonstrate or show is that now that you have the original, like the new audio you want to use, then you can now import the other ones. For example, you have your main audio, so I'm importing another audio, like my first audio. Okay, let me select another one.
Please, we would like to hear the one you mixed earlier. If you can mute and then let us hear that one. Thank you.
Okay, if only time would allow us. So let's say I have this, then good. So now I have got two sounds, right? So maybe I don't want, you see that this particular one has got a lot. The overall time is around 2 minutes, 15 seconds. But I don't want it to play that much. I just want maybe the first 5 seconds or the first 10, 15 seconds. And maybe I even want it from this particular place. So I'm playing from that place. Can you hear? Can
Again,
you
we
hear?
we cannot hear this one again. I think you should share and reshare, unshare and reshare again. Let's see.
Okay. I'm
Yep.
sure my ancestors are after me today. Okay, share audio. Okay. Okay, it's not working for me because when I click on share and share audio, it automatically mutes me, and then it doesn't give me the opportunity to unmute myself. So I'll just do the demo, then maybe you just watch instead of having to listen. I'm so sorry about this experience. So let's say I want to split it from here.
We can't see your screen anymore, Dean.
What's happening? Okay, can you see my screen now? Can you see my screen now?
Yes, we can see your screen now.
Okay, so I'll just like do the demo without having to. So I'll split this. And when I split, I would have to just select to select a particular audio file, just bring your hand, like the cursor, to the upper part of it, and then you can delete it. Okay, once you get here, you can cut it out, you can copy and paste and all of that. So here I want to delete this or cut this out. So this is now gone. Now, maybe I just need the first 15 seconds. This is for a quick disclaimer. This is just for practice. This is not like an, okay, so I'm pausing here. So I'll come to this particular place and then I'll split it again. Split clip. And up here, I'm going to cut this out. I don't need this. Then I want it to continue playing with this. So I can cut this. And then I come here. I can paste this. And when I paste it and I bring it closer, now just where we have the line, okay, there's where we have the line. I'll make sure that they are like, they kind of merge out. Then if I click on play, sorry, I need to bring this to the beginning. So this is how you do the mixing. And once you are done, you can do your, it's unfortunate that you are not able to hear the output of it. But I'm sure if you download and you also play around this, if you have further questions, you know where to find me. I'm available on Telegram and WhatsApp, and also on any of the Wikimedia projects. I really wish you could hear the sound. Samuel, I don't know if this answers your question about cutting an intro from one audio and then blending with another one.
Yeah, I think it does.
There was a second part of your question.
The name, the title before you upload.
Well, I think Dean, I think I know what he's talking about. He's talking about when you are uploading to Wikimedia Commons, right, Samuel?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. That one is, you have to use the naming convention. And this is the name.
I think he can just edit the name when he's uploading on the upload wizard by just using this format, yeah. So you just have to get the name.
So you can take a picture of this, and then anytime you're uploading an audio file, this is also very useful for videos and also content that is not originally in English.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
All right.
Okay. The reason why I was asking about this is basically because of what I'm saying now, right? So this has DAG. This is like an example language code. So what
Yes.
for example, where a language does not have a code,
Every language has a code, please.
we have to use the full name as the language code or something.
Every language has a code. If you go to ethnolog, this particular website, ethnolog.org, these people, they have got all the languages across the globe. There are over 7,000 languages. Just search for the name of the language and then you find the code. Or just go onto Google and search what's the language code, what language are you suspecting that might not have a code? Samuel, which language do you feel does not have a code?
This
Sorry?
is this Equity, for example.
Could you spell it for me? Could you spell the language for me?
Okay, IKWEWEEIK
Mm-hmm.
ERR Equere
Sorry, can you start again? IKW.
After the E is arrow, not W. After the E,
Okay.
arrow, double arrow. Then
Okay.
I. Okay, is Equere? Yeah, E is E. Sorry.
Okay, Ikere.
Is E.
What's the
The
language
last
code
one
of
is E.
Ikere?
Yes.
Sorry?
Yeah, it's correct that
Yeah,
I
yeah,
query
correct.
language.
Yeah.
What's the language code for Ikere? Okay. The language, this is it belongs to this.
You're supposed to write language code, right?
Okay, the language code, yeah. So this is the language code. So every language has got a code, and we call them the ISO 639 codes. And they are usually provided by this particular website I just showed you, Ethnolog. They have documented the over 7,000 languages, 7,170 languages spoken across the 242 countries across the globe.
Yeah.
The
So in
funny
the
thing is that,
situation is two
sorry?
language like English and a language. Will you put both English and language?
If it's for audio, just leave it like that because you are already up. You are already titling the title is already even in English.
Okay, so you just put the language code.
But let's say you are uploading something for Igala, something for Igbo, something for Dagbani, for Ikere. These are like different languages. Assuming you had even written the title in Ikere, someone might not really understand it. But here you are trying to tell the person that yes, my audio file belongs to the people with the language code Ikere. So the syntax, so IKW, then you recorded the sound in Ikere state. Let's just assume there's Ikere state in Nigeria. So it will be IKW Ikere underscore Ikere. Maybe what was the occasion? Maybe funeral rights. You write funeral rights. You, the uploader, you are called Samuel. So SM, like depend upon how you maybe your first name and the initials of your first and last name, then the date. As for the extension here, I think it will be automatically given based on what kind of audio you are creating.
Yeah. Thank you, Dn. So Samuel, what Dn is saying in summaries is if your title is not in English, if your title is in another language, that is when you use this. But when your title is in English, just leave it the way it is. So we are 6 minutes ahead of time already, and we just have I will just take one more question. Just give me 3 minutes. Let's take one more question. Somebody has his hand raised since I'm just seeing can you ask your question in 30 seconds? Let's just attend to it before bring the session to an end so that we'll not keep everybody more than the 90 minutes that was planned. So if you are here, can you just unmute yourself and ask your question? Thank you so much, Jane. All right. The person is not unmuting himself, so
Hello.
All right. Yeah, okay. Go on.
Yeah. This is Amuzo Joe.
Okay, Joe.
Yeah. Listening to Dean, I think he has done well. But then what I wanted to say is this: normally, somebody wants to submit a sound for an award. Let's say, see the way we do some of the mixes for the video. You have a sound here. You pick a sound, let's say from a market. You pick another sound from, let's say, from the mosque. So I was waiting to see how, let's say, he can put, let's say, small sounds together to form one whole track. That was what I was trying to look out for, but I didn't see that because what we had a competition is somebody would love to see at least how to do that one because when we are doing because somebody asked, so I think with the intro and then after I had to put some small minute sound in places that are supposed to be at least a very simple mixing that anybody can do. Yes.
Okay.
To
I
have
think
let's say
I think I got that. And Dian did something like that actually. I don't know if you were here right from the very time he started the demo with the Audacity. He showed how you can cut cut a particular audio at one point. He showed how you can import different audio and you put them together and make a particular sound from bringing different audios together. Maybe when we upload the session on YouTube, we'll share it so that you can go over it again. He did something like that, and it's very simple and sweet, actually.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then more also, I think with the uploading of the sound, it can also be uploaded in Wave, which I think Common accept.
Yeah, Commons accept Wave.
It's not always in OGG. Yeah, so that's what I want.
Commons accept Wave. Yeah.
Yeah, so that is what I want to say.
All right. Thank you very much, Joe. Thank you very much, DN, for taking our time to take this session. And thank you, everyone that availed yourself to be part of this session and stay to this very last moment. I'm sorry for taking extra 10 minutes of your time. It's because the session was a very good one, and I believe we all got value for our time. Thank you for joining us. So we'll be uploading the session on YouTube, and when we are done, we are still going to share with everyone to see it all over again. Maybe you can learn one or two. If you have a question, please reach out to me, and I will connect you with Dnshitobu so that we can get your questions sorted. And I look forward to seeing more audio for this year. This is the first time that we are doing a good audio training. So see you guys next time, and you will hear from me on the our Telegram channel and different groups where we are getting information about our next training for next week, which is a mass upload using Partypan. So you'll be hearing from me. Thank you for your time and enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you. Bye.
All right. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.
Please link